Let's talk about 100 push-ups. Not spread out over a workout, but 100 in a single, unbroken set. For most of us, that sounds, basically impossible. But what if I told you there's an old Soviet training system that claims it can get pretty much anyone there? Well, let's dig in and see how it works.
So, that 100 push-up challenge, is it a total myth or is it actually something you can do? It feels like a myth, right? We've all been there. You hit a wall at, say, 20 or 30 reps, and you just can't seem to break through that plateau. But what if the problem isn't your strength? What if it's the way you're training?
Okay, so here's the promise this system makes, and it's a bold one. It can take you from wherever you are right now to 100 consecutive reps in less than 10 weeks. But before we get into the nuts and bolts, I need you to do a little homework. Go ahead, pause this, and do as many push-ups as you can with absolutely perfect form. Get that number and write it down. Seriously, you're going to need it in a few minutes.
So, what is the single biggest mistake that's holding you back? It's the reason you're stuck, and honestly, it might be the reason you've got that nagging shoulder pain. Let's pull back the curtain on the major flaw and how almost everyone trains for this stuff.
This right here, this is the whole game. Most of us train for quantity. We push and push until we're shaking, our back is sagging, and our form just completely falls apart. Here's the problem. Your brain and your nervous system don't know the difference between a good rep and a bad one. They just learn what you practice. So if you practice sloppy, fatigued push-ups, you're literally just teaching your body how to get injured.
And that brings us to the absolute core principle of this Soviet system. This is the foundation for everything else. Your set does not end when you feel tired. It ends the instant your technique breaks down, even just a little bit. It's all about quality. You're trying to program a perfect movement into your brain, not just burn out a muscle. Need a simple way to check your form? Just imagine laying a broomstick along your back. Throughout the entire push-up, from top to bottom, that broomstick has to be touching 3 points: the back of your head, your upper back, and your glutes. The moment a gap appears, say your hips sag or your head drops, your form is officially broken, and that means your set is over, period. Stop training to failure, start training for perfection.
Okay, so if we're not supposed to be training to failure and grinding out reps, what are we supposed to do instead? Well, this leads us to the heart of the method, the real secret sauce. It's a concept called grease the groove. And yeah, it sounds a little weird, but trust me, it's brilliant.
Greasing the groove isn't about building bigger muscles, not primarily anyway. It's about training your nervous system. A great way to think about it is like practicing piano. You don't become a master by playing for 8 hours straight until your fingers fall off. You get better by doing lots of short, perfect practice sessions spread throughout the day. We're applying that exact same idea to the push-up. And there's actually some really cool brain science that explains why this works. You might have heard this saying before: neurons that fire together, wire together. Every single time you do a perfect push-up without any fatigue, you strengthen the neural pathway for that exact movement. You're essentially building a superhighway in your brain dedicated to doing flawless push-ups.
Ultimately, the goal here is to make doing a push-up feel as effortless and automatic as walking. Right now, your body sees it as a major effort, a real challenge. But by removing the strain and just practicing the movement perfectly over and over, your body learns to stop fighting it. It just becomes another skill you own. And when that happens, your rep count is going to explode.
All right, so that's the theory, that's the why behind the whole thing. Now let's get down to business. Let's turn this theory into practice. Here is your 10-week action plan, step by step.
The entire system is built around a simple 2-week cycle. Okay, remember that max rep number I had you write down earlier? Let's say it was 20 perfect push-ups. Your new training number is half of that, so 10. For the next 6 days, your job is to do 10 sets of 10 perfect reps, but, and this is key, you spread them out all day long. Day 7, you do absolutely nothing, you rest. Then at the end of every 2-week block, you retest your max and adjust your training number. That's it.
And here's what that might look like in a real day. You wake up, you do a set. A couple hours later, you do another, maybe one before lunch. You see how it works? You're never doing sets back to back. You just live your life and you pepper in these little perfect practice sets whenever you can. You'll end up doing a huge number of reps by the end of the day, but you'll never even break a sweat. Now, this right here is probably the most important rule of the entire program. It's the golden rule. You should never feel fatigued. After you finish a set, you should feel totally fresh, like you could immediately do that same set again, without any problem. If you start to feel a muscle burn, that's a sign your reps are too high. You have to remember, this is practice, not a workout.
Okay, so once you get the hang of that protocol, there is one final piece of the puzzle, a little Soviet trick that acts like an amplifier for your performance. It's a really simple technique that's going to make every single rep you do stronger, safer, and way more effective.
So are you ready for a little trick that's going to make you instantly stronger on your very next push-up? Yeah, I thought so. Let's break it down.
Okay, so before you even begin to lower yourself, you're going to create full body tension by focusing on 3 points, all at the same time. First, your hands. I want you to grip the floor and try to twist your hands outward, like you're trying to tear a piece of paper in half. Second, your core. Brace your abs hard, like someone's about to punch you in the stomach. And third, your glutes. Squeeze them as hard as you possibly can. Doing this turns your whole body into one solid, powerful plank of steel.
But listen, this is really important. This full body tension trick is an amplifier, not a shortcut. It's like a power-up. It makes the grease the groove method even more effective, but it absolutely does not replace the need for consistent, perfect practice. Use it to make every single one of your reps even better.
So when you really think about it, this system isn't just about mastering the push-up. It's about revealing a powerful principle for how to master almost any skill. Frequent, perfect, low-intensity practice is the key. The push-up is just the beginning. So my question for you is, what are you going to master next?